Well. It is the 15th. We're getting closer and closer to NCAA football. 12 days until we kick it off. And I get the last laugh at all the Albert Pujols haters who said he was a bad sign for the Cardinals this year. Also, Kevin Harvick's on fire in NASCAR. And don't forget, we got our special segment at 9 of primetime Sanders. You're watching Sports Hounds.
A sub 4.2 40-yard dash.
And a good one. Sanders got away. That could be six. That is six. He high-stepping from the 35-yard line.
Dion was everything that his name said. It was prime time. Everywhere he went, with the curl and the change.
Freakish quickness and freakish speed, freakish anticipation. Your kicks at a mile. I mean a mile. This is a man who started in center field for the Yankees, Braves, Reds, Giants. This is a big league center fielder playing corner, becoming the first person ever to hit a major league home run and then score a NFL touchdown in the same week.
Real deep toward right field. Maria back toward that wall. That ball is out of here. Dion is going to touch.
Put him on the other side. You just say, that guy's out of the game. We don't have to worry about that guy. Boom.
Do that.
Fill the center field. Bo Jackson going over. Reads it. Can't get it. Deion Sanders blazing around.
Football, you consider yourself prime time. In baseball, you consider yourself Dion. What was the difference?
The throw replaced.
That was just all right. Football was a dog. Football was a dude. Football was the best thing in Super Bowl. Yeah.
It's safe at home. There's a pile of bodies into place.
Welcome to Jack Murphy Stadium, and look what just
happened. Make sure you hit that like and that subscribe button. Those likes and subscribes. That's what brings it to you every Monday. Don't forget, I also have my co-host with me, Mr. Justin Hicks.
What's
we
up,
are
Carmen?
talking about, as you said in that last very clip right there, you can make an argument that is the two greatest athletes ever to share a field together. Many people forget that Bo Jackson and Dion did play against each other. And as you seen right there, that was a very interesting moment. Dion got just an edge on Bo there. It was off the tip of his glove, and you could see it on his face like, son of a bitch, he's just too fast. There was no way to get the ball down there.
Yeah.
And even when they did get the ball down there, as you seen, Dion is nothing but fucking heart, man. He took that damn catcher slap out with the knee.
I love that. There's like a little, I mean, we're both wrestling fans.
It looked like the fucking Adam Cole boom is what it looked like. But the dude's face, I mean, Dion just didn't even let up, dude.
Even the orange being wrapped up, I was thinking of some type of amateur wrestling maneuver or something that you would put on someone. But, man, that was some contact right there. That's MLB, man, both of them being there. That's solid. And you're right, Bo Jackson, phenomenal. He was on a couple weeks back. We did the top 10 running backs in college football history. He made both of their lists. He was a top 3 guy. So maybe
Dion was and is one of the all-time greats. I can tell you that I probably could sit here and look someone dead in their eye and probably say he is the best cornerback of all time. Now, is he the best wide receiver? That's kind of might be up for debate. But cornerback, I think he's got that spot locked the fuck down, dude.
And they let him play a little receiver, not too much, but
not too much. But
that last clip, I don't know if it's the last one, but he's playing defense. They're in the end zone, and he just switches. He makes the switch because I don't even know the team. I wasn't paying attention. But in the video earlier, you sent me this intro earlier, and he gets the pick. And I want to say it's a pick 6, but I'm not sure. Like, that's phenomenal. That's just his on-field awareness and man, just his swag and style alone. Neon Dion, by the way.
Neon Dion, Mr.
Neon
Primetime.
The Atlanta called him Neon Dion because he was such a you mentioned Adam Cole earlier. He was a shock to the system for Atlanta. They wanted some pizzazz, and by golly, they got it because, I mean, he is something not of this world when it comes to he was like these NBA guys. You know how they love fashion,
right?
He was one of them.
I mean, he was one of the very first ones to do it. He's the one to put a lot of swagger to the game.
For sure,
Mr. Dion did. All the way back from far. Well, before we dive into all that, let's dive into a little bit of news. I don't have a whole lot. As you heard me at the beginning of the program, we got 12 days until the NCAA season officially starts. I can tell you, I cannot wait. I've already been some shit talking. That's what I was doing right before the show. Trey Davis was tagging me in fucking top 25 posts, going, "Where's Auburn? Where's Auburn?" We're having a fucking sandwich. Don't worry about it. We'll be there. We'll be there shortly. We're just late. We missed the bus. Okay.
Give y'all 3 weeks, right? Give you 3 weeks.
Give us some time. Wait till we go and we whip Penn State's ass, and then they'll have us ranked. Because we owe a revenge game on them sons of bitches. Let me tell you. But yeah. He's a damn Alabama fan. Of course, they're number one. So,
yeah.
Last week we went over the top 25 polls. We're not going to do that shit this week too. So, we'll go ahead and move it along. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the elephant in the room. This is big topics, big thing that's been going on. It seems that the Padres has someone not following the MLB guidelines and rules and regulations of steroid use.
Tatis,
one of the biggest players in the MLB today. He was just on MLB cover last year. Dude, that's a big loss for the Padres. He is suspended 80 games.
Yeah, that's the first offense, 80 games.
First offense. Here's my question to you. Do you think that 80 games is enough? I'm really strict on the steroid usage.
Yeah.
And let me tell you why. And this is one of the biggest gripes I had to Missy when I first got here, because everyone knows, I've explained it before, I was not into baseball before I moved to St. Louis.
Right.
One of my biggest complaints, and this is odd coming from a wrestling fan of all fucking people, but was always the constant cheating that goes on in the game of baseball. And steroids have been a big mark on it. I mean, steroids has been going back always since the 90s. It's been an issue. I mean, you talk about Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa,
Jose
Canseco. I mean, all these guys that was just using the juice. And here we are in 2022, and you honestly would think at this day and age that would still not be a thing. Like, dude, you know they're going to test you for it.
That's my question. I think it was 2-3 years back, they started using juiced balls, okay? Yeah. A juiced baseball. So if you're going to make contact, say, instead of, I don't know, a 70-foot line drive or whatever, it may be smashed out of the park. Now, is that, I don't know, I didn't look too much at the juice balls, but we were on track. We had a lot of home runs. There was a lot of records set by teams, by sluggers, and where they take us, I think it's always going to be a part of the game because, like you said, we're in 2022. This has been a good chunk of my, when Jose basically buried everybody, Mark McGwire, Rafael Palmeiro, dude, Roger Clemens. I'm like, why is a pitcher taking steroids? But I mean, I get it. I get it. At the time, I was like, he's a slugger. But
they use it for so many things. That's the thing is that some people don't realize that it's not like these athletes go in there and say, "Oh, okay, my batting average is off. I'm gonna go get me a whole big old ball of steroids and pump them up so I can get my batting average up." Let's go ahead and just clear that up right now. That's one of the conversations me and the lady had. It's kind of hard to give Mark McGwire shit because, in a way, you can sit here and say, okay, the guy used steroids. Okay, well, here's the thing. Those steroids do not give you the skill to hit a curveball. They do not give you the skill to – they give you a slight edge in the gym is what steroids do. They give you an edge in it. They give you an edge in power because it's going to give you an edge in your lift that you're lifting out every day. But – dude, you cannot sit there and tell me, oh, well, he used steroids, so he don't know how to play the game. Horse shit. That guy can still a very skilled player that can hit a curveball, a knuckleball, whatever you might want to throw at him has nothing to do with the fucking steroid use.
Oh, I agree.
The
like
home runs,
slight edge. Yeah,
the home run power has to do with the steroid use.
Well, you're going back to the gym usage. If he's in there pumping iron, say,
right,
I don't know, 3-4 hours.
Well, I mean, it's like it was one of those things too. Like they were so not give a fuck about it in the 90s, the way MLB players were. If you go back well, if you go look at fucking Mark, like in the earlier days at like Oakland, he's always been a big dude.
He's Opie Taylor.
But man, when he got to fucking St. Louis, dude looked like he was a beast, man.
Yeah.
That shirt was tight on him.
Yeah. Oh, he was. That was the appeal too. He and Sammy and a lot of these guys, man. A lot of those guys, too many for me to think of now. I can't remember if Frank Thomas, another Auburn alum, but
yes,
I can't remember if he was brought up in this or not. He's in the new Genix commercials now, so that's a testosterone booster, though.
Yeah,
but I wonder too. You just mentioned this.
Well, he is fucking almost 60 years old or some shit like that. And he's
if not in his
60s.
Yeah, that's crazy. Y'all had Barkley, Thomas, and Bo. And I think around the same time.
Frank Thomas was a little bit before my time, before I was paying that much attention to like Auburn baseball.
Yeah,
and it actually blew my mind that I found out, because it was years later after Frank Thomas was a big deal. That I found out that he went to Auburn. I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know that.
I think you got to be from a baseball town to be looking at college, like West Virginia. I don't know. I just found out. One of these guys, I think he's a Toronto Blue Jay, Alex Manoah. I could be getting that wrong. He was an all-star this year. He went to WVU, and the dude from Baltimore, John Means, I want to say his name was, he also went to WVU. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. You'd think we might have a trophy somewhere. I don't know if we do, because I don't follow, nobody really follows college baseball until it's that point. And when it gets there, it's like, oh, Texas or all these SEC schools, because they're just dominant at everything. And maybe in Oklahoma or somebody tossed in there. But no, with Tatis, I don't know what he's thinking. He was hurt, right? He was hurt before. And we know from past studies and things like that, this stuff is like a health booster or regenerator.
It rebuilds the tore muscle that they had.
Yeah,
and faster. So he's not out. So someone's not out as long. So that's possibly what he could have been using it for. He didn't need it for the home run power. The dude already busts enough home runs. He's a beast athlete anyway without the steroids.
Yeah.
It was a stupid mistake. Anyway, he's out 80 games. Let's go ahead and move along. Also, I have to talk about this. I remember at the beginning of the season, everyone laughed, especially here in St. Louis. A lot of people did. There was a lot of people that was on board with it. There's a lot of people that was not on board with us re-signing Albert Pujols. They thought it was a charity case. They thought the money could have went somewhere else. They thought he's a has-been. He's washed up. He's too old. Let me ask you something. Does a washed-up, too old has-been do this shit?
Just watching him as much as I've watched him over the years, and, I think a lot of people...
Albert hits it down the left field line. Big Mac land! A blast for Albert! 688! 688 home runs with an exclamation point!
Now, I know what people's thinking. Even the sun shines on a dog's ass every now and then.
That's true.
But he's almost batting 250, and he's nothing but a designated hitter.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. He hit that home run, but then he turned right around and did this.
The first pitch to him. Albert into deep left center. Oh, my goodness! Way out of here! 3-run bomb! His second of the day! his second home run of the day, and soon to be his second curtain call.
I was going to say, I thought he got 689, but then I remembered 2 home runs. You know, I didn't watch the game, of course, but been hearing about it a lot. Take the floor.
Albert is chasing the 700. I hope he gets it before the end of the season. It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight for him to get that 700. Very, very tight before the end of the season. But they're already talking about right now, if Albert's only a couple away from 700, Albert comes back next year. There's no fucking way that no one can convince me that he won't be back next year to get that 700. Could you imagine retiring at 698?
No, it's not happening.
It's not happening, bro.
Not for him. Plus, if he's a DH, you ain't even got to do it all the time. If he don't want to,
he would take less money next year than what he took this year, just to get the 700.
And it wasn't a major hit this year, right? The money-wise, financially. Now, I know you got, for one, the St. Louis Cardinals have a phenomenal, from what I can hear, phenomenal prospects. They could have actually potentially got a guy who's also Padre, we didn't mention, Soto. But giving up what they have and for the future and what can potentially be for now, I like the course they're going. Stay the course, see what these guys can do. You mentioned it's probably one of the most respectful baseball cities in all of America. And Albert being there spent, let's just say, his whole career. Let's forget those Angels years, please.
Albert, Albert learned real quick. He knew that this was a special place to play. And when he went to other places, he knew that this is where he wanted to come back and retire at. Lamar says, no way Pujols retires. I think there's a possibility he possibly could. If he gets 700, I see him retiring with Yachty, because Yachty's done after this year also. Molina's done. So if Molina, because I think that's how he wanted to go out, was him and Molina going out together. So that'd be a beautiful story for both of them. Him hitting the 700 club. Molina is still breaking records this year. Every time we turn around, he's breaking some kind of damn pitching. I mean, not pitching, but catching record or some kind of shit like that, or something for some kind of catcher. So
one of the best catchers to ever play the game. Period.
I don't know, and you know, if Pujols come back, I don't know if that might keep Molina from retiring. Molina might stay one more season,
one more year.
If they want to keep him, because he is starting to get old. I mean, I don't know if they might need the room or what they might need. I mean, I don't know. So we'll see.
There's ways. Old dogs, new tricks. He's what, 25, I think, away from Babe now. Come on, man. If you can get 25 more, now that probably ain't happening.
And also, let's just also point that out, if Mr. John is watching, he did that against your fucking Milwaukee team, buddy.
Oh, okay.
Fuck Milwaukee. Brewers. Shove those Brewers up your ass, along with your Green Bay Packers.
I hate most NL Central teams, the Cubs being the most. You're a Cardinal. So I take that back. Pirates, I feel sorry for. I don't know why, because we're worse. But I'm like, man, we're always bottom of the barrel. So it's kind of cool seeing Albert. I've always loved Albert. I don't know anybody who could just trash the guy unless they're like
you had Vin Scully, who the legendary Dodgers broadcaster, who dies at 94. If you know anything about baseball, you know who he is. If you don't know who he is, fucking Google him.
He called the great. He called when Hank Aaron. He got to call the Hank Aaron home run that broke the home run record before. So.
There you go.
Fantastic. One of the best voices of sports.
Also, you had a Judge who hit number 46 this season also, but it was not enough. The Red Sox come back and they beat the Yankees 3-2. I'm not trying to rub the Yankees in the ground here, but they are on losing streak. They are slowly starting to slip away into unconsciousness. They've even fell out of the power rankings a lot. Also, speaking of the power rankings, I know the Cardinals are up at was up at number 5. They might not be now, but they was. Also in NASCAR, you have Harvick, who's on a 2-race winning streak. He is ahead. On a real good run before they head into these playoffs. Let's see if he can keep that going.
I think we got Watkins Glen coming up, which is a road course.
I like Watkins Glen. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that track.
I love how people are like, they just turn left. This is for stump out there. They're like, oh, they're just turning left. They're turning left. Well, the boys can drive. They're getting on the, and it's going to be shown this weekend. That's a tough sport. That car gets hotter than the gates up in there. You got to be pretty athletic nowadays.
It's people don't realize this one thing, go out there and do it left, right for a little while. It's another thing, go out there and do it for as long as they do it continuously without being able to get a damn break.
4 and 5 hours, man. I could be to your house, Tommy.
Right. In that time.
So and how tired is somebody? I'm tired after 2 hours of driving. I'm gonna be honest. The 600, that's an all day thing. So Kevin Harvick picking up juice at the right time, 2 weeks out of the playoffs, and he's locked in there.
Also, in NFL news, you have LA's up 2. They actually are 2-0 right now in the preseason. But who gives a fuck? It's preseason. Also, the Jets quarterback Zach Wilson is down. He's looking at he's going to have knee surgery. I'd be damned if Tonster Damas did not jinx his own fucking New York Jets with this shit.
Tell me this.
I mean, I was giving Jets their due in the locker room like last week, and I was like, dude, man, with Zach and the guys that they recruited, man, I see the Jets can make it to at least if they played hard and a couple of things happen, they might make it to a wild card. I could see them making it to a wild card. Maybe not winning it, but making it to it. That's a big improvement for the fucking Jets.
Yeah. When you're picking in the top 3, usually top 2 for them. We'll say top 5 to be fair to Jets fans. When you're continuously picking in that 3 to 5 range, you'll take anything near playoffs. So,
and he was like, "No, they're going to blow it all off their ass." And then he turned right around. It was the very next week, and the damn quarterback got hurt.
All he needs is some tender love and care from some of these 45-year-old women out there. Hit Zach Wilson up. He is the Cougar player who was a BYU Cougar. My bad, I forgot.
According from what I've read up, it's the surgery is not serious. It's not that bad. It's just
like
a little repair of the tear. They don't have to be completely like cut or whatever the hell. From what I was reading or something, that he could be out like something like 4 to 5, 6 weeks maybe.
Yeah,
they're still pretty early in the preseason. He can still come back in time to maybe be able to save their season. Well, that's going to be all the news we're going to talk about. We're going to dive right in to Mr. Deion Sanders after we take a very quick commercial break. We shall be right back.
So you've spent your life as a wrestling fan. Have you gotten bored of what you've seen on TV and thought to yourself that with your creativity and artistic talent, if you were in control of the characters, you could make an awesome show? Welcome to Revolution. Use your promo skills to play the part, become the star, and compete for real championship belts. Whether your style is bare bones, or you're an outbreak or tag team talent, or even if you want to compete for the grand prize, the Revolution World Championship. It's real fun, real easy, and you can become a champion holding a real belt. Join today.
It's Revolution.
Richard's just got that voice, man, don't he? He's got the voice that
dude should be in fucking radio or something, dude.
He should. Why? Well, I shouldn't say why hasn't he tried, but that makes me angry at the radio / TV stations. He's Entertainment Tonight. How he ain't on something like that is beyond me. Very, very good dude.
Very, very, very talented, man. Very talented.
Yeah.
That is Revolution. That is some of the other content that we have on Warriors Entertainment. It is a fantasy wrestling role play where it's wrestling meets rap battles. Compete for real championships, as you heard there in there. You do get to physically, it's another brand that I own. You do get to physically hold and defend those championships. It is 100% free to play. You can find it on Facebook at Revolution. Look for the logo. The logo has a bunch of guys in a row, all standing there with the championships on their shoulders. Or no, I'm sorry. Right now we actually have the pirate logo because we're moving into our pay-per-view called Mutiny. It looks like a big ass pirate. If you have trouble finding it, hit me up on YouTube. I can help you find the way. As I said, it's 100% free to play. The only time you pay any money is when you lose the championship belt in a show, and you may have to mail it to the next participant. We have everything from World Championship to the Outbreak Championship to mid-card titles to tag team championships also. Also gimmick belts also, like the Bare Bones Championship. And we just did an Evolution of Revolution tournament where we actually gave away a real championship that you get to keep to yourself. That winner was Mikey Bada Bing.
Of course.
He is the 2022 Evolution of Revolution champion. He ended up with that. All the other participants ended up with medals that they actually got to keep to go around their neck. They all paid a $29 entry fee. That was what they got. They got something whether they won or they lost. So it was a very, very fun. It was what we did. That is a one-time a year thing. But as I said, we do have monthly shows and monthly pay-per-views that run when we are going into Mutiny. Mutiny is like a pay-per-view that gets voted on by, puts the power of the people. They get to vote what shows. What matches are going to happen and how they're going to happen. So that's going to be very, very interesting. Let's go ahead and dive into the Deion Sanders. Very, very cool. Let's go ahead and dive into this Deion Sanders segment. Get this thing started. Mr. Deion Sanders. For you that do not know, as we said, he did play MLB baseball. He played NFL football. He started his career in the baseball at the Yankees in 1989. Very, very killer stats. It was no slouch. It's not like he just did this. It's not like he went and did it and it was like, oh, well, I could show up here and do a little bit of batting and, kind of make myself look like I'm a good athlete, Yeah. And then go play football and look like a good athlete. Like, no, that was not the case. It was nothing like that. And I've heard people tell me that Deion was not a good baseball player. Horse shit.
Okay, MJ was not a good. Michael Jordan was.
Was not a good baseball player. He was fucking horrible.
Deion, these guys like Deion and again Bo, the dual athlete in all sense of the word. Again, I didn't look up many Deion baseball stats. I'm stuck primarily.
Well, I have them right here. How about that?
Go ahead, man. Because
I got his career right now, right here in front of me. From the he played at the Yankees for a few years. He played at the Braves for 4 years. He played at the Reds for a few years. He played at the Giants for 1 year, and then ended up going back to the Reds and finished out 97 and 2001. His career. 2,123 at bats. The guy had 308 runs, 558 home runs. Oh, I'm sorry, that's hits. I'm sorry, they're not home runs.
I was about to say he's right behind Albert.
Yeah, he's right behind Albert. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was hits. My bad, guys.
Right.
He wasn't a power hitter like that. He was the type that got on base and stole bases. That's what Deion
Ricky
did.
Henderson.
Ricky Henderson type guy. He had 168 RBIs. This cat had 39 home runs though.
Pretty good, pretty stout.
That's pretty stout, man. If you want to know some of the awards that maybe Mr. Deion won, he is an Associated Press NFL Defensive Player of the Year award. Mm-hmm. He also has the Jim Thorpe Award. SAI's all-time college all-star award. He's also has a Heisman Trophy. The guy even wrote a book. I mean, this is why they call him Primetime. Power, Money, and Sex, how success almost ruined his life. He's also a Hall of Fame, Pro Hall of Fame 2011, Chick-fil-A College Football Hall of Fame also. The guy also had a 40 time at 4.2 7 seconds.
That's insane for his. There's a story out
I
there.
bet you he could still run a 4 or
guaranteed.
something. I guarantee he could. Guarantee he could.
We talked a little bit about his coaching nowadays and how hype he gets his players. He's at an HBCU school. Is it Jackson State? I think it's Jackson State. And this guy's getting not just 3 and 4. He's getting 5-star recruit. That's something that does not happen. And I'm so happy for him. HBCU, black school, black colleges, right? So for them to be put on the map like they are, man, he's got the #1 overall college football player this year. And I mean, we'll get into that later, but all these guys, we've talked NIL a little bit. We've talked Nick Saban, of course, and the Jimbo drama and these rankings, Texas being on the best recruitment rankings, top 10, top 20, whatever. But Deion Sanders in 1 year's time has went 11-1, took them to a bowl game. They didn't win the bowl game. It's okay. I didn't even know HBCU teams could go to bowl games, honestly. I thought they had their own set of bowls that they could attend, but he apparently not. Deion set the world on fire this year, and I really hope eventually he gets to get a shot at Florida State. If he chooses, if he wants to stay at HBCU, fantastic. I think they need to have a place in college football. We're seeing how the landscape has changed so much anyway, right? So there you go. Changing the game. He truly is. If we could get HBCU, these HBCU teams, as their own conference, that could be a Power 5 right there. We're already seeing the dismantling of the Pac-12 and the emergence of the Big Ten and the SEC, obviously. So why not throw an HBCU up in there and have a power conference that, man, they're for real. I'd like to see that, and Deion is on the brink of that. I feel like if it's going to happen, he's on the brink of it right now. That's today, and we're meant to talk about all of his previous accolades as a player and a person.
Also, you got his football stats are just. I mean, they're also insane for his wide receiver stats. He had 54 interceptions, 1,331 interception yard, reception 60s, receiving yards 784, 22 total touchdowns. As we said, he was not a big receiver, but he was a killer cornerback, man. But just so for people that never watched Deion in his time, it was completely amazing. Let me go ahead and just show you what we're talking about.
Touchdown here, but they made a mistake of throwing on Deion Sanders. I mean, Deion Sanders is the fastest player in this league. I bet you in his life he was never in.
I bet not. He says, I'm about entertainment.
I guess that's what that is.
I guess. 89 yards.
Back in '89, signed the dotted line. People make fun of Deion's album. I had it. I knew every single word of it. I bought it when I was 14 years old. I took it dead serious.
You could love him or hate him, but he was the high stepping in any way a tribute to the band. I've been high stepping since '74. It was just something that happened. It was just something that we did in youth.
Brian Hansen back to punt for Washington. That's Deion Sanders. He's on.
He got one.
Yep.
I admired this game. I like this game. It taught me how to be a man. It taught me how to get up. It taught me how to live and play with pain. This game.
70 yards for Deion Sanders.
Look at this here. Now we can go 6 here. Here we take that and we make that 18.
How many sacks did you have?
God, I miss the days of John and his pen, man.
Me too.
God.
At the end with him drawing that, I got one of my best friends. We talk about John Madden and that old clicker. Brett Favre. He's a huge Brett Favre fan, by the way. And John, man, I'm gonna miss John Madden so much. Well, he's been on TV for a while anyway, but Dion, phenomenal. You know how I said Reggie Bush was the human highlight reel that I got to see in college, and he was actually the top of my college best college running backs list. Dion was that guy before, like he was truly the human highlight reel. Those high steps and little shuffle, little shimmy in the good evening, Melissa Tucker. How are you?
How are you? Had a block of troll over here. It seemed like we had a little asshole over here talking about our show sucked. Then why the fuck you watching?
Who? Wait, which troll was it? Was it Melissa Tucker?
No, it wasn't Melissa. How the fuck you watching? Keep it friendly in the damn comments, man.
Yeah,
you gotta watch our shit. Go the fuck on.
Don't be hating.
Don't be hating.
Yeah,
a bunch of friendly motherfuckers sitting around talking sports. You ain't got nothing better to do with your fucking night. Sad, pathetic motherfucker.
But Dion, back to Dion for a second. Those high steps and that little shuffle that he had in it was the San Francisco when he runs it back for a touchdown highlight.
That's why they called him primetime. It was that little shit like that, dude. It was just.
I did that as a seventh grade. I guess you would say junior football because you're not in high school. You're not technically. It was a weird time, and I did that little Dion shimmy, and my coach is like, "What do you know?" We also had to do the get hit, run a line, take a hit. I wouldn't take a hit. He's like, "Who you think you are, Dion?" I'm like, "I wish." And well, he said primetime. I'm pretty sure, but no, man, he was kind of the first cornerback you said you would argue maybe best of all time. We've had guys like Darrelle Revis, and now we got Jalen Ramsey, and I guess I love the cornerback position, but Dion, man, he really transformed it with his style of play, his athleticism, his punt returns, special teams cannot be, for me, it can't be a bigger factor. Yeah, I love special. Devin Hester, one of my favorite players, and yeah, he does have better special team. There we go. We could. That's a great point. One of our heroes, Missy. One of our heroes.
Speaking of which, if you want to know the shows that are coming up, let's go ahead and bring that up right now. Let's go ahead and take a quick little step away from Deion Sanders for 2 ticks. Next week, this show was requested. We do have, as I said, we have 20 shows that are locked into season 1. If you want to see all those shows, go to Facebook page at Warriors Entertainment. It's at the top of the page. We are I'm currently right now booking season 2. So if you have an episode that's of mine, drop it in our comments. I promise I'll do everything I can to put it in season 2 when we start it. The season 1 is locked into place, but I am looking for ideas for season 2. But next week was suggested by a bunch of my guys over in Revolution because a few of them happen to be, for some reason, Patriot fans. But next week, we cover the What the Hell Happened Super Bowl between Tom Brady and the Atlanta Falcons. We all remember that Super Bowl. The Super Bowl where it looked so bright for Atlanta. They would finally get it, and then they end up choking. There's a bunch of factors that went into that game. We'll talk about it next week.
The striped players. What's that I always like to see? All 16 men on that.
I blame Julio Jones.
I blame a lot of people. I'm on my soapbox now, man. But that's perfect too. Dion, Atlanta career. We seen some Atlanta footage earlier. That's their one shot at a Super Bowl without having any real. I mean, they had Tony G. I believe Tony Gonzalez was on that team, was he not?
I think so.
That's what sucks, man. You're a Chiefs fan. He was so loyal to Kansas City, and they just weren't that good. They weren't the franchise you look at as like, oh, Super Bowl. Yeah, they had some good years, but he goes to Atlanta, has a shot at the ring. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. And even years prior to that, they were hot. They were 1 seed and get beat by Seattle before Seattle was really dominant. But that'll be fun, especially for your Patriot fan friends and Revolution. So,
hey, you know what? Let's take a second and watch some more Deion highlights.
let's do it.
Yeah.
Who's a better athlete?
Athlete? Yeah. Prime.
But how fast, if you're healthy?
One step faster than the next man. You can't put a time on Prime. Just one step back. I run as fast as I got to run.
And Prime also was one of the first guys to start breaking down video. I said, man, what does he do to get ready? He said, man, he gets all your routes.
There's Deion picking off Drew Bledsoe on the screen attempt.
He's getting dressed. He got his uniform all laid out, the socks and everything. And he's watching every route that you run and thinking about, I'm going to look pretty, but I'm also going to be studying the opponent's.
Yet he's got 54 career interceptions. It would have been more, but they spent years, not games, years ignoring his side of the field. He had 23 touchdowns, 6 different ways. This dude is beyond legit. He is beyond exceptional. He is beyond Hall of I actually think there should be a separate category for people like him other than the Hall of Fame. It should be the Hall of Fame and then the Hall of Fame. I don't know. I got to come up with something else. I can't think about it. But I'm telling you, this is prime time that we're talking about here. Prime time.
It's off at the 30-yard line by Tim McIntyre. And McIntyre's going to gamble by flipping it to Sanders. They should just fall down.
That's not very smart.
No, but they live on the edge, and they keep living on the edge. And they're going to go to the playoffs on the edge. Are they for real? This is Joe Fishback for a touchdown.
I like how it wasn't very smart and they score on it. I love Al Michaels, but that was a tad too early.
Yeah.
And it's the Saints back then. I mean, we could smell it coming. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen against those terrible Saints. Man, Florida State, he was a Florida. Would you consider him? I mean, he's got to be. I haven't looked it up. I know we have first teams of everything. He's actually, I have it written down. He's a first team, or he's on the Hall of Fame team, all-pro team of the 90s. I didn't check who and I was on the list. I was a little late because I got into some other stuff. But
you say all-pro team of the 90s?
All-pro team. All-pro. He was a 6-time All-AP first team All-Pro in the NFL and an 8-time Pro Bowler. The funny part is every year, obviously, he made the Pro Bowl the years that he was a first team player, but except for 2, he got the Pro Bowl in 99 and 91, and that would have been around the time. Well, that last Pro Bowl would have probably been like Redskins / Baltimore. No, he wasn't a Raven, so I'm guessing a Washington Redskin. I think he was a Redskin. But I remember Deion, unfortunately, as a Raven near the end of his career, man. And he was still good, though. I mean, we seen it in the clip there. If that's Deion 8 years prior, that's a legitimate, scary team with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and these freaking nature defensive players. And Rex Ryan was there at the time, I believe, or it could have been Marvin Lewis making defensive play calls. So just think of that, man. That's scary all these years later, but he's a little too old. Would you put him as one of your was the hired gun? And then I think that's a good point. Well, the baseball career too, he didn't commit to. As he got older, he had to leave one for the other, you know.
You know, one of my favorite things I ever seen Deion in.
What's that?
Celtic Pride.
I love Celtic Pride so bad. The Damon Wayans movie, is that where he? Okay.
You remember they kidnap him?
Yes.
They're not supposed to do it no more. They're Patriot fans, so they go in there to kidnap Deion.
And they're going. I think he's a Utah Jazz member. So I can't remember, but they kidnap him and hold him. Yeah, that's fantastic. There's a lot of good athletes in that movie. Larry Bird. I remember Larry Bird, and one guy thinks he's God for a second.
Yeah.
Celtic Pride.
Celtic Pride. Yeah.
So
if you ain't ever seen Celtic Pride, especially if you're a Boston fan,
Go watch it.
Go watch it. It's a movie from the 90s. It has Damon Wayans and what's his name?
Is Dan Aykroyd the guy?
It's Dan Aykroyd, and what's the other guy's name? The dude from Home Alone.
The Home Alone. I don't know his name.
Harry from Home Alone. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Harry from Home Alone. It's them in it. And, it's pretty
hilarious, like you said. Great movie. But no, there's a lot of little cameos in that movie. Would you put Dion on the? Well, he's in the College Football Hall of Fame, but I mean, we've seen so many great guys. Obviously, NFL Hall of Famer. I think I remember his speech, actually. But my question, as a college player, I mean, he has to be, right? He's an all-timer at Florida State. Would you have him as your top corner? Because there was another guy, Leroy Butler. He actually went in 2 weeks ago. They were on that same team. It's an unclaimed championship. One of those.
As Steven said in that clip, there's the Hall of Fame, and then there would have to be another Hall of Fame. And that other Hall of Fame, over that Hall of Fame, would have Deion Sanders in it.
Yeah.
That's how good primetime is. Like, at corner, if I can't think of no one. If Deion is in the conversation of who I would rather have as my cornerback than Deion Sanders.
He's kind of the standard, right?
Yeah, he's the standard. He's the one that put it in everything. And not only that, his energy alone, as we said, we're going to talk a little bit about his coaching. His energy alone, if you go and you watch those clips of him in the locker room, it is nothing but me at almost 40, Deion makes me want to put on a set of pads and hit someone. Like that's the kind of talk and experience, kind of shit that Deion is on, man. Deion make you want to go play, like
yeah.
And you ain't even on his team, like I don't, so
he's also been known to, I believe, anyway, he had mentored a lot of guys we've seen come and go in the NFL.
Levels to the Hall of Fame is like a VIP section. Exclusive.
That's a good point, because I ain't knocking on anybody that just went in, but like two of the guys, I'm like, I don't remember ever seeing you play, but they played a little before my time when I was diehard. I like that, different wings, and he would definitely be on the top and maybe even a level above that for, again, the flashiness and the. I sent you the top 10 quotes of Deion Sanders.
Let me pull those up real quick. I want to see what some of those said.
The second one's classic. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, you get paid good. If you get I messed it up already. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, you get paid good, baby. I remember. That's the one I think.
Deion Sanders, the best quotes from Deion Sanders.
He's like he's the Muhammad Ali.
You want to go from 1 to 10 or from 10 to 1?
Let's do 10 to 1.
10 to 1. Number 10, Bill Belichick is the best professional football coach I think ever lived. I'm upset that I played for a player of teams and never got the opportunity to play for Bill Belichick.
That's in his NFL analyst role, I guess.
All right. Yeah, I guess so. Number 9, time is a wonderful storyteller. Number 8, I don't care what they say about me. When I'm through with sports, I don't want to be known as anything else in life but a great father. That's the shit he's on right now. He's a leader, coaching them kids in college. Not only that, I love his passion of how he's putting these big coaches in check, because he did get that number 1 recruit.
Yeah.
And he said, why not come here? Why can't they come here and play football? They're just as good a spot of anywhere. If you're going to get an education and get to play football, you're going to get noticed.
And the NFL is going to look at them no matter what.
Right, right.
They know who these guys are, and I agree. They ain't got to go to Georgia.
Right. Break the fucking mode. Don't go to damn Ohio State.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't go to Georgia. Don't go to Alabama. Go somewhere else. I mean, ain't that basically how the Fave Five was put together? These kids had all these scholarships other places, and they all called each other basically. Howard got on the phone with a horn with a couple of them after he was committed and said, look, we all need to play together. See, I don't understand why they don't do that more. Like, I don't understand that shit. Yeah. They all just want to go do the same shit.
A lot of that money nowadays.
Right.
In the collegiate side, anyway.
Here is what the one that Mr. Hicks was talking about. Look good, play good, eat good, die good. That's number 6. People say there's no I in team. Well, there's not, but there's an I in win.
Fantastic point.
I remember the quote that Shaq said that Kobe said when he's the clip that you see where Shaq's talking about Kobe. He said, all the players are getting mad because Kobe ain't passing the ball. Shaq, Kobe ain't passing the ball. He said, I'll say something to us of Kobe. There's no I in team. Kobe said, nope, but there's an Emmy in that motherfucker.
Give me the ball.
Give me the ball.
Kobe, man. Classic.
Number 5, playing on ESPN2 and not ESPN, not being invited to bowl games when some teams are 6-5, really not worthy. I want to know why that is not on the table for HBCUs. When I say the playing field, I want to level it, every aspect of the word. I just truly want our kids to understand that there is a negative system that leads up to the NFL like it once did. This is some of the stuff we're talking about. Deion's laying some truth on some people, man. Number 4, if your dreams ain't bigger than you, there's a problem with your dream.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, man, that's some smooth shit. You be like, coach, I go hit them. Give me a set of football pads. I'll go chase a dream with you. We go get the national championship.
Yes.
Number 3. Yeah, number 3. I felt like a deer with 100 hunters after me. I imagine so. Number
that
2,
deer had some moves.
He did, man. You ain't hitting him with no car, headlights or not. Number 2, if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, then they pay good. Number 1, I will not answer any questions unless you address me, Coach Prime.
Yes, that was very, very recent. Wasn't that like after? Or no, it was first season, I believe, as he's coaching. Not Coach Prime, y'all. Coach Prime.
You will address me as Coach Prime. Damn it. He's got so much swagger. He got the big ass square glasses with the fucking fitted shit on and the fucking damn nice jersey. I mean, dude looks fucking badass, dude. He looks like a coach, man. And I promise you that's the coach though that probably gonna run your ass to fucking death.
Of course, because he's done it. Because he's done it, and he knows the feeling. I've got a couple friends in coaching. One that is a life that's his living. He made his living off becoming a basketball coach. That's a great point. And he talked a lot, but he played a lot better. I mean, 6-time first team. That's incredible to me. 6-time first team NFL at the corner spot. You know, nowadays there's like a shelf life. There is for everybody in the NFL, but corners. Deion kind of had that wide receiver mentality of pay me now, like pizzazz, panache, whatever you want to call it. But I've never heard people be like,
here's some real truth on some people. T.O. is just imitating Deion. That's all T.O. was doing. He was just trying to imitate Deion.
Yeah. But Ocho probably
just trying to imitate Deion.
Ocho, he was there. There's a reason. There's a first for everything. Deion. I had to mention Florida State because he and I think Leroy Butler just went into the Hall of Fame this weekend, and they actually have an unclaimed championship. I think they beat Nebraska in the Fiesta Bowl that year, undefeated. Man, college football, for one, has progressed, and I'm glad Deion's part of it. And I hope it progresses even further, especially with the HBCU schools. I would love to see, as you said, it's not 5 schools. Let's not narrow it down to 5 schools and go there. Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma, Ohio State, USC. Let's broaden it a little more. But, man, the college bowl games, like you'd be playing the Fiesta Bowl randomly, and it'd be like 1 versus 2, but that's your national championship. Auburn actually got screwed out of a national championship. I know you remember that, the Jason Campbell, the Tommy Tuberville year. I remember.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that shit. They wasn't the only one that year. The reason I don't bitch too much about that year because I feel like it come full circle. It was karma that come back. And it come back and it bit some other people in the ass because that year they got screwed, and I feel like Oregon got screwed. And then in the 2010 national championship,
They
it
played
ended up
each
being
other.
Auburn versus Oregon.
Yep.
So that it really sucked for 2003 because you're right. Auburn should have went to a national championship that year. I thought they should have, but it come back around. They ended up Oregon and them both got screwed. And I mean, people always want to talk about and bitch about the way things are now. And they're always like, oh, we should go back to the BCS and blah, blah, blah. You don't want that, man. You do not want that. I lived through the BCS years. There was a lot of teams that didn't even stand a chance of getting a possibility of getting in a damn position
big time,
getting to a national championship because of the way it was set up. If you was in Alabama, Notre Dame, or USC, or one of those type of teams, they wasn't looking at you for real if you didn't, whether you went undefeated or not. They damn sure, didn't give you any kind of credit, whether you scheduled one or two or three big teams that year, and went to their house and even beat them. They didn't care. So the BCS was a joke, man. It was not a system that you would want.
No,
it definitely sucked. The only thing that made it more to me better was the fact that it was such a tight thing that if you lost one game, it could possibly kick you're out. Like because that one game was like a death slice almost.
It's more of a playoff than the actual playoff.
Right. You had to hope for other teams to lose, and sometimes that shit didn't happen. Like with an Ohio State or Alabama or someone, they would just keep winning. So
it's still to a degree like that, like you said, but nowhere near like I remember WVU, of course, 07-08 season.
I think they're going in the right direction with it. Like now,
I do too.
They're starting to go in the right direction with it now. I just don't want it to get like I said, if they're going to do it super stupid, you might as well go ahead and just let every winner from every conference, whoever wins their conference championship,
I think
get into a play.
Yeah, Mike, that's a great idea. Now, I got one question, and it pertains to Dion, and I know I've mentioned college a few times, but a phenomenal, he's a two-time football Hall of Famer, college and NFL. Not a lot of people get that accolade. I think I had him down. He was a 4th or 5th pick by the Falcons, and ahead of him was Troy Aikman and Barry Sanders. That's incredible.
Well, I mean,
I don't like Troy, but Barry, come on now. Yeah. Incredible.
I tell you, Troy can be better on listening to him sometimes than some people. I guess he's okay. I guess he's okay with what he's doing right now. So
yeah,
he's trying to be Madden, but it is what it is.
Yeah, Messi was right. Maybe we should do one on Madden and the influence of modern day broadcasting football.
In 2 weeks, do not forget, in 2 weeks, baseball fans, if you was around, do you remember when Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa was the talk of baseball? It was all about the home runs, home run versus home run. That's what we'll be talking about on the 29th. Was you a Mark McGwire guy? Was you a Sammy Sosa guy?
We will be juiced for that one. My question.
Oh yeah.
And Tatis is going to join us. He ain't got nothing better. He's got nothing better to do.
Tatis, listen to us. Come on the show. Come on, show. That's the least you can do. If we had Tatis on the show, it would be like we'd be viral. We would never have to do anything of any kind of substance that ever mattered ever again, because people would just tune in just to see, oh, those were the two jackasses that Tatis sit down
How
with.
did they get Tatis? We offered him drugs, baby. I'm kidding.
We told him we'd pee him in a cup for him.
Yeah.
Next time.
I do have this luring question, and I mentioned it earlier. I mentioned it to you. Dion being at a HBCU, Jackson State, 11-1 record last year. They did go to a bowl game. I believe they lost, but again, competition is a little different. He's proven it. He's proven that he can recruit, though, getting these guys that he's getting.
Yeah.
Do you see Florida State? Because I read this. It's a little older. There's some that are older. Some it's going to pop up every year as long as he's coaching. Could you see him taking on the Florida State Seminole job?
All right. Here is always my thing every time. I think someone's going to go with their Otto Meyer. I think that the pressure comes with it's way too much. It always leads up like it's always more expectation than what they really can actually end up doing.
Yeah.
It actually ends up backfiring most of the time. So if Dion goes to Florida State, Dion would probably need at least 3 to 5 years at Florida State for them to be a national power. For them to be a national powerhouse, 3 to 5, Florida State, Dion could get them there. They have the recruit. It's Florida. It's Florida State. People, you can say what you want to because if you're not a fan of Florida State, that's fine. But Florida State is Florida State. It's just like any other big college like that. Kids would love to go to Florida State to play the atmosphere, the weather, all that shit. So that's why they would love to go there. So that's Florida State in a nutshell. So once you send Dion there, if you could give him 3 to 5 years and let him get his recruiting base, get his trail going, get his pipeline going, he would out recruit Nick Saban in a heartbeat.
He arguably already has in your
He would out recruit Nick Saban in 3 to 5 years. Of course, Nick would be very old at that point, probably on the edge of retirement, probably wouldn't give a shit. But Dion could put it together, and he could win a national championship. The thing is that I just don't think Florida State fans are that patient. They would get Dion and think national championship
year one,
first year one.
Yeah.
So when they didn't win one, they would be let down. And then when year two would start, and they would probably still be getting the shit kicked out of them, and they would only be winning a few games here and there because he's got to rebuild that entire mess that's going on down at Florida State. So by the time he gets around, if it gets around to year three, if he is still there, if he don't win a national championship then and he just went to a bowl, I just don't think they'll think that they would think, oh, well, that's just not good enough. He's just not cutting it. They'd end up getting rid of him, and it would be a mistake when they should have given him another year, because I guarantee you that fourth year would be probably his national championship team or the team that almost gets him there, and the fifth year would probably be a guaranted ring. And then you got then you got the dynasty going. Then the dynasty would start.
And that's pretty much every team in college football. If you get
it's the same argument that's going on in Auburn right now. It's the same argument we had last year with Auburn. You bring Brian in there, and people instantly set their hopes way too high, or they either was so mad at the years that we wasted with Gus. I still thought he was the answer. Whatever the case was, they didn't sit around and say, okay, you can't have Gus back. They're not going to hire him back. There's no sense in being a corruptness about it. You might as well let this cat try to do his job. You got to give him 3 to 4, at least 3 to 4 years, man. And he needs to be winning by season 3. But if he's not winning a national championship, you don't fire him. As long as by season 3 he's beating Alabama and competing for the SEC championship, you did a good job by hiring him. But if he's not doing it by that point, then you fire him. But you can't bring anyone into the NC, and it's going on a lot now. I know it's a lot of college football that's going on, that they hire these coaches and they don't win something the first year.
2 years.
It's 2 years, and these fans lose their mind. Yeah. I mean, if you even go back and look at Nick Saban, it took Nick Saban 3 years before he won his first one, didn't he?
Yep. 09. Very well, the 09 season.
Yeah, he lost to Utah in a bowl game. Remember that, guys?
And then Oklahoma in another bowl game. Well, you're talking about before the national championship. Yeah. I did want to say one thing. I told you I wanted to bring it up about college basketball. I know we're not in the time for it, but I forgot to at the beginning. The founder of the Princeton offense, Mr. Pete Carrill, died at 92 today. He's in the Naismith Hall of Fame, the innovator of an offense. And what was it, 2-3 weeks back, we had a show. We talked a little bit about Bill Russell.
Yes.
Bill Russell passed away, obviously, a few weeks back. Pete Carrill I'm not saying it was Bill Russell, but he had watched a Boston game, and he and the other coach, I forget the actual, Pete was a very humble guy, so he's going to credit whoever for, he came up with it, but Pete Carrill was the father of the Princeton offense. But Bill Russell was actually a factor in kind of looking and seeing how they could put players, okay, we're going to put this guy, this 5 at the free throw line, and over here we're just going to spread out more and look for the backdoor cut, and this is what we're going to do. And in the 80s and 90s, it was
if you're thinking Princeton and rolling your eyes, at one time Princeton used to be pretty dominant at basketball.
13 Ivy League championships for him during his tenure at Princeton. 574 wins, 11 NCAA trips. In 1989, John Thompson, the second, one of the greatest college basketball coaches to ever live, Patrick Ewing's basically his dad, a father figure to him. Not his dad, really. He had a dad, but that's his basketball father figure. They were the number 1 overall seed and beat Princeton, coached by Pete Carril, by 1 point, 50-49. So that's how for real they were. They beat UCLA as a 13th seed in 1990. I didn't put the year, but I believe it was around 94 or 95. And again, guys like Jay Wright, who Villanova Hall of Famer already. David Blatt was in the NBA for a bit. LeBron got him fired from the Cavaliers. Craig Robinson, who is actually president.
He didn't sleep with LeBron's mama, did he?
No, he just didn't like his coaching.
Oh, okay. I thought everybody.
He might have, but I don't think that's the primary reason. I don't want to call LeBron's mama nothing now. But Scott Mooney, and I thought his name was Sean. Anyway, Scott Mooney, at Richmond, runs the Princeton, probably more so or better than anyone in basketball. And New York Knicks former general manager Steve Mills. There's 2 guys that I talked to about potentially. I mentioned going into coaching. Casey McGraw in Elmira. He's at Elmira College in New York. He runs the Princeton, and Coach Dan Wellman at Nebraska Wesleyan has won multiple NAIA championships, at least 3, using the Princeton offense. So this guy's fingerprints are all over the college basketball world. He was in the NBA for a bit during the good years of the Sacramento Kings and passes at 92 today. I definitely wanted to mention that because the Princeton is one of those systems. It's like a near and dear. It's something you can study continuously and never get right. But
right.
he was a genius and a very humble man, and he's going to be missed in the basketball world.
I just want to mention that I forget that the Sacramento Kings at times has a basketball team until someone mentions the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah. Well, he was okay. He was an assistant he stepped away. Let's see. I don't know what year he took over, but I want to say 97, 98, he quit at Princeton, and Rick Adelman. And I remember Rick with the Kings. That's when the Kings were good. They couldn't beat the Lakers, but they was playing them. He was an assistant coach at that time for a few years, and then he came back, and he officially quit in 2009. And when you think about that, man, he coached until his 80s, like mid-80s. So, late 70s, early 80s, I should say. And he was one of these guys, as far as I know, if you could get a hold of the man, which is very rare nowadays, he would talk to maybe me or you about basketball and how he ran his team and just life. He just talked to people, and that's one of the coolest things about these guys. It's a sad day, but a life well lived and influenced a ton of people. So he will definitely be missed.
Well, that's going to go ahead and wrap up episode 6 of Mr. Deion Sanders. As I said, remember to join us next week where we talk about the What the Hell Happened Super Bowl between the Picks, not Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. Excuse me there. I don't know why the hell I said Pittsburgh.
It's okay.
Okay. Cut. We'll cut that out. Well, we can't cut that out because we're fucking live. But Atlanta Falcons versus the Patriots. That'll be the Super Bowl we cover next week. We probably won't do a whole lot of today's sports next week because I'll probably try to cover all 4 quarters of the game as much as I can.
Yeah.
And try to break most of it down because there's a lot that goes on in that game. So
too much.
A little too much. If you're a Falcons fan, you're probably not going to watch this one. So, and I don't blame you. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down there, and make sure to share us all around. Tell your friends. This way we can keep bringing this content every Monday. If you're a sports fan, we love having you guys, and thank you everybody that sit around and watch. I noticed over here in the viewership, we kept a pretty good bit of viewership most of the show. It's nice having that live interaction. But those lights and that subscription is what makes the thing tick. So, as I said, make sure it's every Monday, 6 p.m. Central Time. you can be a sports hounds too. Let's see here. Let's see how we want to go out here. Do we want to go out on our original intro, or do we want to go out on Dion's intro?
You know what? Dion's a special case. He's prime time. Let's end it with Dion.
Oh, of course. There's prime time. As he said, let's not forget the one thing that we didn't talk about before we click Mr. Dion's here. He did when they were sitting down for the draft and they were looking at Dion.
I wanted to bring that up.
And it was the Giants, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
wanted him to take a test. Now, of course, any receiver would be humbled that the Giants would be considered drafting them. But Dion looked at them and said, I won't be around by the time you go to draft me, so I'm not taking your test. And, of course, he wasn't. And he made the Giants pay for many, many years after that.
Yeah, played for 2 NFC East teams. And then an Atlanta Falcons. So NFC all of his career, except for his years in Baltimore. So that's hilarious. I wonder if Barry would have took the test. Sanders, he did. He's too quiet.
He's too humble.
Yeah,
he's too humble. He'd have taken it.
I'm
like, I ain't
number
doing nothing
2.
anyway. I'll take it. I ain't doing nothing anyway. Even if you can't draft me, I'll take it anyway.
Barry's a sweetheart. He's too sweet. He's the opposite of prime time, but he's prime time to watch.
All right, guys, we're gonna get on out of here. This is it's Coach Prime, bitch.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog. The cry.
A sub 4.2 40-yard dash.
And a goal line. Taylor got away. That could be fixed. That is fixed. He high-stepped it from the 35-yard line.
Dion was everything that his name said. It was prime time. Everywhere he went, with the curl and the change,
freakish quickness and freakish speed, freakish anticipation. Accurate kick to the mile. I mean a mile. This is a man who started in center field for the Yankees, Braves, Reds, Giants. This is a big league center fielder playing corner, becoming the first person ever to hit a major league home run and then score a NFL touchdown in the same week.
Real deep toward right field. Maria back toward that wall. That ball is out of here. Dion has got a touch.
You put him on the other side. You just say, that guy's out of the game. We don't have to worry about that guy. Boom.
Do that.
Fill the center field. Bo Jackson going over. Leads and can't get it. Deion Sanders blazing around.
Football, you consider yourself prime time. In baseball, you consider yourself Dion. What was the difference?
The throw to the plate.
That was just all right. Football was a dog. Football was a dude. Football, that was the best thing in Super Bowl. Yeah.
It's safe at home. There's a pile of bodies in the plate.
Welcome to Jack Murphy Stadium, and look what just happened.